that she is giving so succinctly that please watch this again, because these are gold.
Oh, beautiful. I'm so thrilled that when we tap the truth, there are a million ways to come to that truth. The 1,008 paths, right, to the divine, and so it's such a joy to be able to share it here with everyone today. So this is an image that is the closest way that I can possibly depict what happened with me that day 20 years ago. Here's how I would describe it. I awakened right here. Now, we tend to think that this is who we are, this human self at the bottom of the page in this biofield that I've drawn in here. And we seek spirituality, we seek guidance from, our guides or from, the higher realms, etc., and all of which is a very brilliant choice to make, to seek that support and to recognize that we are not an isolated, separate self. But what happened for me that day was I was no longer this, seeking support from this. I was this on a project. So this is who we are, and this is what we're doing. This is who we are, and this is what we're doing. We think mistakenly that this is who we are, and this is what we're seeking. Mm-hmm. And the reason we have such a hard time finding it is because this is actually what we are. So what I describe in the book is this quantum flipping the seat that we sit in and becoming this soulful self that is dropping into this bodily experience, into this physical realm experience, and we are rising here. So let me just give you an idea of how this works. There is a dissension process that occurs in the compressing of our own system, in the yes that we say that we're ready to embody. We're ready to come into this physical dimension and have this life experience. There is a further compression that occurs, and we descend down into this third dimension. So we drop, we hit the earth, and we rise. Now, when we hit the earth, that splat I was talking about, it occurs right there. And so when we splat and we disperse our energies, we don't have enough wherewithal gathered and collected and in a quickened state. We don't have enough energy to rise up to our fullness, which is the recognition of who we really are. So what happens is we rise as high as we can go, and then the energies start to disperse and they fall around. We take them up again. We try to give rise to ourselves again and again and again and again. And over time, that is what generates this whole physical experience that we're having here. So I'm going to show you a close-up of this version of it in just a moment. But what I want us to get right off the bat here is that the purpose of our life is to be able to descend here and rise all the way up, that this cycling energy becomes so big that it's actually including our highest self, the highest levels of our own consciousness, in the revolving energies that we are utilizing every day. And what happens is we have a struggle getting there until we realize that that's the name of the game. So I have one more picture here for you to show you kind of a close-up of how that works. This energy descends to the earth and it rises, and it is you. It is you. You don't have energy running through your body. You are an energy being, okay? You descend to the earth and you rise. And you rise all the way up through levels of energy, layers, different frequencies of energy that represent different aspects of your own consciousness. So we know the chakra system represents different levels of consciousness as well as many other influences that they have inside this whole system that we are. So let's look at it from levels of consciousness. So if I rise up through my rootedness and my wisdom center and my personal identity as a cosmic, universal, multidimensional being, and I rise up through the love that I am and my ability to manifest and my recognition that I am not a human being, I am being human at this time. And there's a big difference there. I'm a spirit energy being human at this time. It starts to take on a totally different context, and it starts to take on a totally different avenue of solutions in our lives. In fact, I ultimately want you to recognize there's no such thing as a problem. The only problem that exists is the belief in problems. And so, we'll get to that. But here's what I want us to see. Here's what happens. Everything is here to allow us to rise up through this state, and this energy cycles back around. We take it back up at the tip of the spine. It rises through the spine, shoots out the crown, cycles around the outside of the body, and this is basic bioenergetics. This is how the energy flows through the physical system. It's constantly being replenished from overhead, from that higher self perspective that we were talking about. It's constantly receiving from that abundance. It's constantly hitting the earth and being grounded and stepped down for human consumption. And then we're constantly rising. And we're here to learn how to rise without any interferences. So that brings me to my next picture here. This is what's happening in our lives. So we rise, and because we don't have all the circuitry in place, the energies that we are, they rise and they find the path of least resistance. And we rise up through the things that we're already good at, and we avoid the things that we're not familiar with, or that we're afraid of, or that we're intimidated about, or that we've been shut down over in the course of our, development. So in this, there are parts of my knowing that this is my gig, that this life experience is mine. It's not a world I'm supposed to be fitting into. It's my world that I'm creating. And if we don't know that and own it, then we circumvent that and we just try to fit in and we just try to do the best we can. And then as we cycle around through the next area, we don't tap our own personal wisdom. We look to our minds to look outwardly and figure out who knows what and how should I follow what they know or improve upon it or what have you, based upon an externalization of our power. And so you can see what starts to happen here. We start circumventing and wobbling, and that circumvention creates a wobble in the rising energy. And that wobble creates a distortion in the energy field. So now this individual is standing here inside of a field looking out through a distortion. They're going to see a distorted world. They're going to see a world that doesn't care, and a world that isn't fair, and a world that doesn't love them, and a world that continues to abandon them, etc. So what I'm doing is working with people to teach them how to build the circuitry right here, that this essence that they are can rise without interference in a perfecting, ever perfecting manner. And in byproducts of that, we witness people healing as a byproduct of simply focusing on how do I get to what needs to happen here, so that I can build the circuitry, so that I can rise in my true power and in the truth of who I am, be able to bring my whole true self here out into the world in an unaltered manner. So this is who you are. And you're coming down into this world and coming out, right out through this physical body into the world. You're coming through a threshold, a doorway that this physical body is to express out into the world without interference. And so until we learn how to do that, we suffer. Because until we are doing that, we are not living our destiny. We're not identifying as the truth of who we are. We're missing the boat. We're not putting the pieces together. And life becomes very, very painful. So the Buddhists would say that the cause of all pain is attachment. And that attachment is hanging on to beliefs and ideas and identities that aren't the whole truth of who we are. And so the release of that would drop us into this core space where we could begin to identify as this true soulful self that resides more deeply in the core of the being, rather than out on the surface of life where we're interacting with the world. In the splat, we disperse, and we attach to the mind, and we start looking outwardly to figure out, am I safe? Is this okay? Am I going to fit in? What's going on here? And we become externally oriented. Our circuits are put in place to perceive the outer world much more so than to perceive the inner world. However, that is a user issue. It's not by design. It's by nurture, not nature, that is happening. By nature, we are sensory beings. Science would show us that we are 10 to 100 to 10,000 times more sensory than motor. How that translates is, it is more important that you perceive the truth of who you are and what is happening here than anything that you do. The motor nervous system is about the doing. The sensory nervous system is about the perceiving. So I'm teaching people how to perceive a greater version of who they are.
I'm just going to say, You've hit on so many of the points that we teach over and over and over. And
she's given the visuals of what Kryon's always trying to teach us.
And can I just say, because I want you to start listening where they can see more here, but just folks, if you're listening and you haven't got it yet, healing is a byproduct of discovering your magnificence. You got that? And so you arrive magnificent, and she's saying, and we split out. This is exactly what we've talked about. We're now collecting energy to find our magnificence. That's what the Circle of 12 is all about. That's what going across the bridge is all about. And in the process, healing is a byproduct. It's one of the most profound things I can say. This is what she's teaching. And if you want to know more, Sue, how are they going to find out?
Oh, well, they're going to find, they can find so much. We have so many online courses, etc. at drsuemorter.com. It's drsuemorter.com. I have online coursework, and if and when we get to gather again in groups, I do in-person workshops all across the world. I go to sacred sites and take people to sacred sites and do all kinds of meditative practices and those types of things as well, all as an attempt to enliven the memory of the truth of who we are, to reactivate that memory. I also teach yoga called Body Awake Yoga, and the purpose of that is to anchor the consciousness back in the core of the body, rather than being out here on this dispersed outer layer of who we are and trying to navigate life. When we begin to find this deep core center and anchor ourselves here, we have a real opportunity to sense and feel and perceive. But if we're not living in the body, it's very challenging to feel what the body is trying to relay to the mind. Here's the order of how it works. The soulful essence, this true self, speaks to the body, and the body speaks to the mind, and the mind doesn't listen. It's busy writing stories. I'm just like, I'm out of here.
Sounds like some of our worst ex-relationship partners, right? They just don't listen.
Right. It's busy deciding, what went wrong and what did they do wrong, and how can I avoid people like that in the future, and all the things that we've defaulted into doing for survival purposes.
There is so much here, Dr. Sue. Yes. Thank you. I can just tell why people love your work so much. If you are one of these who say, wow, there's just so much here. Again, I want you to play it again and hear it again. All of you can. Also, there are books about it. And Dr. Sue, we're out of time.
Oh, my God.
Believe it or not.
That's crazy.
And this has been remarkable. Thank you again for being with us. And I almost hate to say goodbye at this moment, because I feel like we've opened the door.
Yes.
To some really marvelous work, and again, I'm bowled over by something I didn't realize that was there, and that is all of this body of work that you have.
Well, the most rewarding part of it is I came out of physical medicine, and so I'm all about getting results. Like, how do we take these concepts and do something with them? And so the body of work that I'm teaching people is literally how to build those circuits, how to anchor in the body and build the circuitry. Because when we have a reaction to someone, or when we have our buttons pushed or our triggers tripped, there's a reason for it. And it's because that energy is hitting those areas where we don't have the circuits, and it's trying to go around them.
That's right.
We literally literally can feel that in the body when it's happening. We get a knot in our stomach or a lump in our chest or knot in our throat or whatever, and it's all a byproduct of the body trying to tell the mind, hey, you're not operating in here the way that you could be, in the way that you should be. And if you would be, we would be feeling differently and responding differently out in the world. So it's my greatest joy.
Well, thank you so much, Sue. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight, and I really look forward to seeing you again. I'm sure I can feel that happening.
Right.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
we are out of time, and we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we'll see you again very soon for the Circle of 12. welcome back from the break. Hope you enjoyed that last section. Lee and I, we were talking in the break how delighted we are to be having healers come on this show that are really bridging between science and spirituality.
It's true.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other thoughts, Lee?
Only, I'm so delighted when we have these guests who are so powerful and have done so much. And I'll just I tell the folks, some of these wonderful healers and these processes I have not been aware of at all. And this is, I'll get my first exposure at the same time you do in these interviews, and I still catch my breath and go, whoa. And that I didn't know that was going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just love how our community is just getting richer, I think. Richer and expanding, and I love it. So, Lee, I think it's about time we move into a meditation.
Let's do it.
And do the Circle of 12. So as we prepare for the Circle of 12, let us begin by honouring our journey that has brought us to this exact moment. Take a moment by honouring and giving thanks to your ancestors and to those that you have loved and lost. I invite you to feel them here with you now, celebrating your magnificence. Your soul is eternal, and it exists everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It is pure, multi-dimensional energy. It is sacred energy beyond anything you can ever measure. The love part of your soul is what you feel and sense. You have the ability to integrate your soul. As we prepare to continue to the Circle of 12, let us affirm our willingness to connect with the God inside. I give permission to experience the grandness of my soul. I give permission to experience the grandness of my soul. I give permission to experience the grandness of my soul. I am ready.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon. I invite you to come closer. This invitation to come closer is the perceptual crux or focus of the Circle of 12. These meditations are about an integration of all that you think you are, to become closer with those things you don't even think exist, to open a door that you didn't even know was a door. Multidimensional things are like that, and we say this so often. We are inviting you to do something that is not commonly asked of you to do. In faith, without intellectual pursuit, to start to feel things that are true and accurate instead of having to prove them in a three-dimensional way. That's what we're asking. Today's channeling was about chemistry. It was about a chemistry that seems to be completely and totally apart from who you are. Your consciousness ponders great things. Your consciousness ponders the world, your survival, your systems, the rights and the wrongs, the dark and the light. Your consciousness ponders wonderful things. It doesn't spend a lot of time pondering your liver. It doesn't have to. Because you see, those things are taken care of, aren't they? And chemistry just does what it does. And if you were paying attention to the channeling that came earlier, you're realizing that perhaps you ought to think about a perceptual change where you start pondering the chemistry of your body. Here's where it gets good. Research has shown that these very molecules of the chemicals that make up your body surprisingly have a multidimensional aspect. Indeed, they have been shown through some experiments of the quantum biologists that they're more than 4D and 3D, that there really truly is an aspect of multidimensionality. And that means that your consciousness, which is also multidimensional, can shake hands with your chemistry in a way you didn't think was possible. We have told you to talk to your cells, now you know why. It's more than talking, dear ones. It's consciousness, loving your cells enough to say, I love you. I'm going to say it today and tomorrow. Congratulations for being with me. Now, let's move life together. Count every other day in your body clock so we're going to last longer. Dear cells, we're going to be out of stress. I'm going to do everything I can to support that which is my liver, which is anything else, which is my foot, which is my knee. All those things which belong to you are made up of pieces and parts of the chemistry. All of them have a multidimensional aspect. Welcome to the Circle of 12, a place where we ponder things which are multidimensional. A time when we're going to, in a moment, cross a bridge, figuratively, into a multidimensional land, figuratively, where you will start to choose to awaken or not to another kind of a concept. Is it possible for you to touch your soul? Are you allowed to touch your soul? This is not on, I would say, any kind of doctrine of any belief system in the planet. The doctrine is more of history and rules, is it not? It tells you the shoulds, the do's and the don'ts, and they don't talk much about touching your soul. But that is what this is about, and it's not a doctrine. It's an experience. It's a belief. Yes or no? Is it possible that this particular energy that's been developed since 2012 is different? Is it possible that humans are now able to and invited to cross a dimensional bridge that will put you then in touch with that which has seemingly in the past been untouchable? The essence of your very soul. You're taught from many who are spiritual leaders, perhaps, that is not what you're supposed to do. In fact, that's too little too sacred. They'll say, well, your soul is given by God and your human body is where you're living. And then when you stop living and you take your last breath, you'll be with your soul again. Almost like it's completely and total apart from you. Now we're telling you it never has been. You walk around with your soul. That Merkaba, that huge energy which is yours, has always been yours. It just hasn't necessarily been something you think much about because you've always been told it's separate. It doesn't talk to you much, does it? Unless you talk to it first. Another premise of Kryon. Your soul, all those things, all that multidimensionality, all the profound love of spirit sits there loving you. And you have free choice to see it or not. But when you do, and when you start to touch that door and knock on it and take that hand, things start to change because spirit goes, she's looking, he's looking, let's go. Waiting for you to decide whether it's real or it's not real. That's what's going on. When you start talking to the chemistry of your body, it's the same. You're going to get a reaction. This is not an esoteric promise. This is chemistry. Dear ones, those who have done this and have been successful at it are evangelical in this because they know it works. And if they could face off with you, they'd say, it works, and we didn't believe it until we did it. And when we started communicating with our body on a regular basis, things started changing. We could feel it. And then they'll tell you something else. That their perception changed when they got results. And now they know something that they didn't know before. They got an awareness of what they could do, that there was more out there. And the premise, again, of Kryon, you can't unknow anything. There's no delete key in your brain that will erase an experience you have. And if you've had an experience that leads you to this multidimensional point, you can't undo it. Oh, you can deny it. Then you're in denial. But you can't unlearn it. And so that's why when you have it and you realize it and it starts to happen and there's an experience, you relax into it and go, I know what I know. This has worked for me. There's so much more I didn't know. And you'll say, thank you, Spirit, for turning on the light, that I might see these things in a different way, There's a bridge before you that I invite you to cross with me. It's always there. This circle of 12 is a meditation. We always do the same thing. It's a little different, like any meditation is a little different. There are different words, there's different awarenesses. A little different than a channeling, where there's always new information and there's things to do and places to go and teaching. And this is not that. This is an experiential meditation. The circle of 12 that I lead you to. I know what's possible here. When you get to the other side of that bridge, I know what's possible. I know there are experiences that will reverse disease there because it can't remain there in your body when you have an awareness of the light and there is no light now. I know things that have happened in the past when human beings have had this kind of an awareness when they didn't before. I have seen, and you have heard of the spontaneous remissions and all of those things. This is on the other side of the bridge, and eventually there will be no bridge, dear ones. Did I tell you that before? The bridge separates the known from the unknown. What you are, what you think you are, all the things you believe, crossing a bridge into that which you don't even know exists and violates, perhaps, some of the realities you've been told are possible or not possible. You don't cross the bridge with a clipboard. You don't cross the bridge checking off things that you know or don't know and coming back and verifying them later. That's not what we're doing. That's all 3D. When you cross the bridge, you're wide open. You've got to be okay with things you don't understand. If you're going to be intellectual and say, I have to see it and know it and understand it before I go there, it isn't going to work. We've told you this before. I want you to cross the bridge with me. Come to the middle of the bridge and you'll see again the mist that's always there. The mist is there is a fog that hides what's on the other side. So you can't use your intellect to peek there and come back and go, I'm not going to go today. Or, oh yeah, I'll go today because it's okay or it's not okay or the sun is shining or it's not shining. You're going to go into that fog prepared for the unknown, knowing it's a safe place because it's you you're going to see. A piece of you that's more magnificent than you thought that you're going to see. An experience which enhances you. And so many are afraid. Only because it's so different. Come with me right now and walk through the mist. Right now. Take my hand. On the other side of this bridge, there's anything you want. Multidimensionality is that way. Don't be shocked or surprised if you don't understand everything I'm going to tell you. I speak in metaphors. I always will. Almost all spirituality is given to you in metaphors, in quatrains, in verses that mean something else. This means something else. We're going to go into a hall where there's a theater. You're going to pass through a door, which some of you think is a portal. It really is the entrance to the unknown. It's your giving permission not to understand what's coming, but to know it's real. Can you do that? Don't understand it, but I know it's there. Can you do that? Most of you do that daily with technology. You use things you don't understand, but you know it works. This works. Come with me to that theater in the round, that sunken theater in the round, where you are going to climb up the stage after you've gone down the stairs in this sunken theater. The audience, you don't know who's going to be there. And it changes from day to day, from time to time, from meditation to meditation, just for emphasis. If you can't visualize it, then simply sit and feel it. Spirit wants you to get this. So if you can't visualize it, that doesn't mean you can't get it. Spirit says, well, then don't do anything but sit and be loved. You can do that, can't you? Can you sit and simply feel? But for those of you who can visualize, come down the stairs with me, climb the stairs, and get in the chair. We've done this for months. Once a month, twice a month, 3, 4 times a month. We do this. We sit in this chair and we ask you to visualize sitting in the chair. There are some who say, well, I can't really visualize anything. Really? Can you visualize sitting down? Is that too much? And you say, well, no, that's fine. I can visualize sitting down. Stop. Sit down. Can you visualize someone saying beautiful things to you and congratulating you, or even washing your feet? Is that too hard? That's very 3D. You say, no, I can go there. Then stop and just do that. Just do that. Let us simply love you. For the rest of you who can visualize anything I'm telling you, I want you to see the audience coming in. I'll tell you who they are. Every single member of this audience is a human being who has changed their lives because they have talked to themselves. They've had disease in remission. They have had peace where there was none. They have erased their life from the fears and the anxieties they'd had. They've dropped unforgiveness. Every single one of these is a champion of energy in that way. They've done it. They learned how, and they do it daily. Every one of them. And dear ones, there's tens of thousands of those. And they're going to sit in the audience and look at you. Because that's what you're here to do. And that's what you're here to learn. They're sitting in the audience. And now it's time for you to talk to yourselves. What are you going to say? Once you start like this, dear cellular structure, dear chemistry, I'm here finally to take the wheel of the ship. I'm here and I understand that this is now possible. Please join me. Thank you, cellular structure, for the love that we have for one another. This is the beginning of our relationship for the rest of my life. And if you think, well, this is really hard, Kryon, I can't talk to a molecule, I'll tell you that audience is now going to support you, and they're going to start yelling suggestions. They're going to start writing things on pieces of paper, throwing them off on the stage because they know it's possible, and they are in love with you because you are endeavoring to do what they have done. Every one of them has done this, and they're there to help you. Some of them may even come up on stage and start talking to you. Why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you hold our hands? I got a process. I got something else. They'll say, I had trouble for a while, but now I'm fine. That's who the audience is. You got support. You think it's crazy, you think it's impossible, you've got support. There's validity, there's others who have done it. They're here to help you. This is the beginning something beautiful. Sit, just sit, and experience them, showing you how to discover your own magnificence and extend your life, chase away all the things that don't belong in your magnificence. Stay. Stay. And so it is. Hi everybody, I'm Lee Carroll. I am the original channel of Kryon.
And we'll begin the final portion of today's journey through this live stream. Take a deep breath. Bring yourself into even a more relaxation space. Gently close your eyes if you feel. And breathe in all these energies you experience throughout the day. Truly a sacred day. Sacred day that's truly coming from within yourself, experiencing more the sacredness of who you are. Breathe into that space. Breathe through that benevolence. Breathe through your magnificence. Breathe through your beauty. Breathe through your love. Breathe through your compassion. Breathe and bring in more light that's coming from within, that's connected to all that is and the source of your soul, of your divinity, that has no beginning and no end. And all it knows is how to express and expand its love, its consciousness, its vibration, beyond words, beyond space, beyond time. Breathe and love yourself into this moment. Love yourself, your immensity of your soul, expressed right now through your multidimensionality, through every fiber of your beingness. How beautiful, how precious, how loving you are. Feel more of the presence of the other beings that has been with you throughout the day, whatever they are for you, your guides, the angels, your ancestors, your loved ones that passed and are here with you, and those in the future that will come and join you in your life. See them all in oneness, in quantumness, through your super consciousness. You see, there's truly no time, no limit to all that you can experience. It's just sitting there and allowing for it to flow into you and from within you. Embrace and love yourself even more through gentleness, through gratitude, through appreciation and care, feeling more of this intuitive experience, intuitive concepts and energies, opening up to more synchronicities in your life, feeling the expectation rising from within you for things to come, to bring new abilities, new understandings, planting new seeds for a new path and future near and far for yourself, being open to all that can come, and walk into it with your imagination in trust, in knowingness that all will be well and all is well. And you are so much loved. And you are never, ever, ever alone. Spirit loves you so much. Spirit loves you so much. 1,000 times more than a mother loves her child. Spirit loves you so much. And let us receive more from the energies and messages from Alcazar.
Beloved ones, we greet thee, 'tis Alcazar. These indeed are challenging times. But we are not right now referring to what is occurring in the outer, in your societies. We are referring to your own individual challenges. What is occurring in your society, the global shutdown, was a creation from humanity as a whole. It was created because there were enough of you demanding change, wanting something new, putting out in your vibration that the old is not working. And so this was created. And so, yes, you had a part in that creation because you have been raising your vibration, you have been meditating, and you are all creators. But you are being faced, each one of you, individually, with personal challenges. This challenge, as it comes to you, needs to be faced head on, so to speak. You have an opportunity now, an opportunity to change, an opportunity to evolve and to grow. So, over these days you have been hearing all kinds of information. You have gathered understanding, and we wish to add to that in some way. We have a little earlier this day spoken to you about the Stargate energetic. We have spoken to you about being able to access the Stargate morphic field, to draw energy into your meditations, energy that can support your awareness, your awakening, support you raising your vibration. Why is this important? Each one of you has been affected in your own unique way by the external circumstance. It is important for you to deal with your own individual situation. And you are unique. And so, for you to be able to draw upon more clarity, for you to be able to draw upon the guidance that is available if you connect to it, these are important things for you right now. And so, there is a window of opportunity that we have talked about in the past. Before your societies start to get going again, so that you are not drawn back into the old way of being. Take a look at the challenges that you have in your life, and then meditate, raise your vibration, draw on the support that is available from many, many different sources. The important element, beloved ones, is raising the vibration. Because as you might have heard, you cannot resolve a situation on the same level that it was created. And so when you raise your vibration, when you allow a connection to your super consciousness, when you allow the guidance to come to you, then new ideas simply form within you. A whole new way of looking at your situation is possible. Can you allow it? The conditioning from your societies all around the world tend to make you look at things in a negative way, to complain, to judge others, to judge the politicians, and in this particular case, the various information about the virus and the vaccines and so on. Beloveds, catch yourself. Be aware of the communications you have with others. Raise the vibration into an energetic of oneness so that you are not re-emphasizing the negative. You are not reacting in the same old way, the same old judgments. Others will want to pull you into that place because there is a sense of satisfaction complaining about others. We say to you right now, beloved ones, you are responsible for how your life will evolve from this moment forth. You cannot blame the government. You cannot blame your society. That is an escape, and it does not help. Now is the time to bring more awareness into your life. Now is the time to start to focus on what you wish to create in your life. So there are two aspects that we would like to draw your attention to. Be clear about what you would like to create. Do not necessarily feel you have to know how to create the new. Feel what it is you wish to attract into your life. Feel it. Visualize it. Invite it in. In this process, however, be aware of your own internal naysayer. That part of the mind that says, oh, that's not possible. Oh, I can't have that. Oh, I don't know how to do it. What we are saying here is that you are the creator of your own reality. You can put out into the field your intention. And if you are not negating that intention by the small voice inside, then existence will respond. So hold your vision for the things that you wish to have moving forward. Hold the vision, hold the feeling and the intention to allow the support to come in. We have created many daily meditations that may be of assistance to you. Find whatever works for you to meditate daily. More than once a day if you have the time. But meditating not just to sit in silence, but meditating with the intention of raising your vibration, with the intention of, from that higher vibration, reconnecting with those feelings of what you wish to create. We talked a little earlier about the frequency, the vibration of the energy of gratitude. And we have suggested that you practice gratitude. Why practice? Because it is a challenge for many people to feel the vibration of gratitude. And so we would suggest daily taking a moment or several moments throughout the day to tune in, be still, find something, someone that you feel grateful for. And take that moment. Once you have thought of that person or that thing, connect to the heart. Feel the gratitude in your heart. And see if you can move that gratitude into a stronger, deeper feeling. For as we said earlier, deep gratitude is a very high vibration. It can support your energetic radiance, the energies that you radiate out into the quantum field, the energies that magnetize to you that which you are creating with your overall vibration. So we say again, be aware of that small voice inside that says, I can't do it, I don't deserve it, and so on. If you have that small voice, then you need to focus your awareness and ask yourself, why do I believe that? Why do I feel like I can't create that which I wish to have? Ask yourself, where is the root of that? And you will probably need to talk to your inner child to find out why she or he feels inadequate. Inner child work is really beneficial right now to clear the decks, so to speak, of the old limitations, so that you can bring in gratitude. You can bring in your vision of what you wish to create for yourself as you move forward into your life. Do this with patience. Do this with clarity. Repeat the process daily, meditating, raising your vibration, connecting to your guides if you feel that they can assist you, working with the Stargate energetics if you find that is beneficial to you. Find what is appropriate for you. Follow the energy. Raise your vibration. Create the new. Be watchful who you invite into your world, so that you start to invite people who assist you in raising your vibration rather than bringing you down into the old. So again, beautiful one. We are here. There are so many benevolent beings available to assist you in creating the new, in creating the new you. It is time, beloved ones. It is now. Now is the time. Step up. Radiate your beingness. Create the new. We are Alcazar. We love you and we bless you. We honor each and every one of you. And we will talk to you again very soon.
So it is good day to you, huh? So good to see you again. Here we are in the virtual reality, in the energy that we are moving today, tomorrow. We are either doing this today, we're doing this yesterday, we do not know. That is just a proof to you that time is not linear. We just want to assign it to a linear definition. And yet here we are, together with your radiance, together with your frequency that is expanding. You've learned so many things today. We give thanks to Elon and Lee Carroll and Kryon and Pragit and Dr. John and Lily and Robert and whoever else was here today. The Vessel Marilyn and the Joy. We give thanks to all of them. But most of all, we give thanks to you. Most of all, We give thanks to the connection that you are making in your own field. Because when you make that connection in your own field, you are indeed standing strong in this energy. You are indeed standing in the connector as a pillar of courage and light, lighting the way for others to be seen, lighting the way for others to be experiencing, lighting the way. In the past, there was that time when you said you could only see as far as the headlights on a car. What is that, 100 or 200 feet or something? And then it got to where you could only see as far as your little flashlight. And then you got to you could only see as far as the phone light that you could see. Well, now there is no light there. You are feeling your way almost in the darkness sometimes. That is what is happening now. Humanity, you humans, are feeling your way beyond, in the dark, not the darkness as in entity or anything like that. Don't even go there. You are the light, remember that. And yet, for some reason, it feels like you are moving around with your eyes closed. In fact, why don't you practice that? Moving around with your eyes closed. And as you are moving around with your eyes closed, how many things do you remember? Do you remember where the table is? Do you remember where you put your magic remote control? Do you remember where you left your that was easy button? Do you remember? So when you're closing your eyes, you're basing everything on what you remember it to be in your past. And there's the rub, eh? Now, the way life is, there is no past. It is as though someone picked up and moved your remote control and you're still feeling for it right here, but it is somewhere else with your eyes closed. So now is the time for you to allow your own innate to come through and remind you that the remote control has been moved. But you can still find it. That is where you're opening your senses. That is where you're opening your own innate. That is where you are learning to depend upon yourself. And as you learn, indeed, to depend upon yourself, dearest one, even though sometimes it's all right, you can lean on others, you can have others help you, that is fine. But you cannot blame those others when something doesn't go quite like you think it is. And let us tell you, if you haven't noticed already, nothing is going like you think it is. If you think something and feel like it is going to be plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, woohoo, you've got plan M already in place. And it was flowing through before you even knew there was a plan M. That is one thing that you can count upon in these times right now, is that there is no plan. But know that there is a solution to everything. And just as soon as you think you've got it figured out, you get to stop thinking so much and start feeling and move in that direction. And ask yourself, is your ego making the decisions here? Or are you? Are you depending upon your own innate, your own abilities to sense into people's bodies, your own abilities to sense the energy that is around you, your own ability to remind you that even though your that was easy button is not in the same place that you thought it was, it is still there. And if you're not sure, you have to turn to touch it. And know that that is all right too. And life is as easy or as hard as you want. Because
that was easy.
That is the key. And as things move around in this world, it is all right for you to check here, check there, as long as you are in integrity. As long as you are in integrity. And if you're not, there's things that are going to sift to the surface that are going to be a bit difficult to deal with. Because everything that is not in integrity, we have told you this many times, everything that is not in integrity is sifting itself to the surface to be dealt with. But for some, we don't even know if you look at it in that capacity. You know, if you look at it in that capacity and you get extra change at the grocery store and the grocer market lady or a man did not count out the right change, and you get out all the way out to your car and say it's raining, huh? Why not? And you realize you've got too much change here, and even if it's just 44 cents, too much change. What do? Do you think, oh, it's raining, I'll just keep this and think, oh, I got a tip from the universe? Or do you realize that someone's going to have to put their own 44 cents in their drawer because it didn't match up at the end of the day, and walk back inside and tell them, you gave me too much change? Now, which is in integrity? Even though it is a very small thing and a very small amount, the slightest degree or lack of integrity can be coloring your world. It is important for you to know that your own innate is one that you can depend upon. It is important for you to understand that your own wisdom is coming in. It is important for you to know that your guides, your teachers, your angels are there with you inside of your field, inside of your innate. You do not always have to turn to someone else for your answers. You can turn inside. And when you do and you learn to count upon that energy, that keeps you in the slipstream. And that, if you don't know what the slipstream is, that slipstream is the part that lifts the air for everyone behind it to have a little easier time. It just slips that energy up. So, dearest, we ask you to stay in that slipstream. We ask you to understand that your integrity, your courage to stand upon yourself on your own in the frequency of love, in the frequency of compassion, in the frequency of benevolence, in the frequency of a giggle or laugh every once in a while, maybe every day, that lifts the energy for all that are in your field. And that creates the slipstream. For you see, dearest, you are here. Volunteers, old souls, as Kryon says, old souls. You are here bringing forth the wisdom of those patterns and habits and energies that were learned before, so you don't ever have to do that again, bringing it into this time, this day, into the new centuries, the new decades, 2021's knocking on the door. That is the year that science fiction things were written about. It is coming to fruition now. So you know, even though you don't have lots that you may count upon, except for yourself, that innate within yourself is so magnificent that it magnetizes its field around it to bring in all that is necessary, to bring to you all that is necessary for you to evolve, for you to grow, for you to expand, for you to be able to shine the light bright. And that is what you are doing. So, dearest beings of light, we ask you to let your light shine. Ooh, sounds like a song there. Let your light shine bright, and know that anything that is not in integrity is going to surface. So if something surfaces, you can say, woohoo, one more thing. Let us find the solution to that one and keep moving forward. For you see, dearest beings, that is the way of this world. We see you. We know you have volunteered to be here at this point in time for this shift of this planet. And as you can see, there's a whole lot of shifting going on. And as you do, realize that it is shifting in divine light, with love and laughter and peace eventually, and joy. But it is going to take every single one of you light workers, or as we like to say, light plurkers, to accomplish that. So we are glad you volunteered. We volunteered as well to be here with you in loving support. So when you feel like you're standing alone and you're looking around for your own innate abilities, wondering how they're coming in, we can just put our energy right against your back to let you know that you are never alone. We are always there. Because we love you unconditionally. We see you. We know you. We honor you. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I say yet again, some would believe that anyone who channels is out of body to the extent they have no idea what's happening. Even worse, some will say, well, the entities that they channel, whether they're angelic or whatever, are living in a world of their own as well, a multidimensional world that really doesn't even know what's going on the planet as they deliver these high messages and high vibration. And the answer is none of those things are true. The truth, as I gave you this morning earlier, is that your soul has an alliance with the Creator. And that means that through your soul, there is communication. We know exactly what you're going through. We know what's going on right now as you sit there listening, whether it's live or in what you call replay. Doesn't matter. Spirit knows you. And so what I will say to you is this is the end of the conference, the end of the day. The end of the time that some of you have actually gone through all of the days, an end of the time of teaching, of training perhaps, of high vibrational things, of meditation, perhaps even a few tears. And some of you will say, well, I'm sorry it has to end at all. I enjoyed these uplifting messages. I don't know what's coming next. I'll tell you what's coming next. More uplifting messages from you, your heart, that which is your soul communicating, perhaps for the first time in a more succinct way with the other side of the veil. What is this all about? Why is there channeling at all? Why is there teaching like this? The answer is that this is the salt of the information to come. It is the beginning, the introduction to a higher consciousness on this planet, which is going to start raising integrity and the idea of oneness. Alcazar has been teaching this for years, there is more to you than you think. There is a position that you don't even know that is available, a position of compassion with you and others who mingle into your soul as well. The more you realize that you are one with everything, the more you realize that everything is not upstairs. Everything is you. What if you had an alliance with the ones around you that is stronger than you ever thought? Oh, there's so much more to talk to you about. I am the magnetic master, and I'm going to be brief. In this closing, I just want to present something that you should think about, perhaps or not, with free choice. They call me the magnetic master. Let's talk about magnetics for a moment. Are you aware of the influence of magnetics on you, the planet, all life, all that is your earth? Did you realize? Your sun has a magnetic field which then interacts with those on the earth, which actually brings you information from the planets. Did you know that's how it's done? Did you know that your magnetic field on this planet is allied to and related to consciousness? Did you know that? That is proven. Did you know that the magnetic field of the earth can be sensed by birds and animals, by trees? Did you ever wonder how birds fly south for the winter or whales navigate thousands of miles and come back? They know magnetics. They have inbred compasses. Did you know that? Did you know that humans can sense magnetics as well? Go check it out. Go find out. And yet, with the influence of magnetics on this planet, including that which is going to be the new inventions and the new power and the new motors and all of the things that magnetics is going to start to bring to you, you cannot even see a magnetic field. Did you know that? Ask a physician who deals in medicine. Is it possible for a human to see a magnetic field? And the physician will say, well, there's evidence that you can sense it. No, I didn't ask that. Ask a physicist. Miss Physicist, is it possible for science to see a magnetic field? And they will tell you, well, we can see the reaction of it. We can see what it does. We're very clever with that. We can see the lines of influence. We can see what it looks like, but we can't see it. We cannot see it. What is the most influential energy on the planet from birth? And the answer is gravity. Did you know that there was a relationship between the magnetic field and gravity? Now, this is controversial. Today and tomorrow, it will be a fact. What are we missing here? I ask you, what are you missing here? And the answer is everything. You cannot see these energies around you. They are not yet available to see. And there's more. What happens when you get to that point, dear ones, in your science where these things will be available to see, where quantum energy will be something that you can see? I'll tell you yet again. Suddenly you will see in the human DNA quantum energy, and you'll ask, what is it? Why is it there? What does it mean? What does it do? Quantum sight will allow you to see the human Merkaba, the closest to the soul that you will ever be able to see, and it's going to be there. When they turn those instruments on a human being, everything will change. What is it around the human we never knew was there that may be quantum? When they look at life itself, the rocks and the trees, nature, and they see everywhere there are quantum fields interlacing with one another. When you start looking at the magnetic field itself on the planet, you'll see that it touches everything else. Everyone will take a deep breath and go, oh, I had no idea. We had no idea that everything is related to everything in science, not esoterics. Science. Oh, but there's more. I've never even touched on this one. Oh, you'll get there, dear ones. And when you do, there will be a reboot, even of what science thinks it is. A reboot of information, of ideas. But there's more. You ever been in a room with a person who's angry? You can feel it, can't you? Whether they're angry at you or the world, you can feel it. Have you ever been in a place where compassion ruled? Have you ever sat in front of a master in any land who was renowned for attraction of compassion, who only just sits there, and all you want to do is sit at his feet and enjoy the energy? Have you ever read about the masters of history where people were flocking to them just to sit at their feet and listen? How do you explain that? You say, well, there's got to be a vibrational energy that pushes from that individual. And you'd be right. Have you ever gone into perhaps a theater, sat by someone you don't know, and moved because something wasn't right? You felt that something was not right to the individual that you sat next to the degree that your body said, move. Some of you know what I speak of. And so let's get down to it. Logical human being, why? You've seen it, you know it, why? Whether it's compassion or unbalance, there is a vibration, you would say. What if it's not a vibration? What if it is a multidimensional quantum field which is identifiable in its compassion or in its unbalance, that radiates from the consciousness of a human being who is either in distress or in love? You hear that? And if there is, can you see it? Dear ones, I am giving you something I've never given you before. There is something else coming. And that is a scientific evaluation of consciousness itself, whether it is balanced, unbalanced, compassionate, in fear, in anger. What if that could all be measured? Those who deal with something called heart math have just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the measurement of coherence between humans. There are things coming which are going to explain everything I'm talking about. And you cannot then deny it. It's been esoteric up to the point where it's science. And what are you going to do with it then? When people say, I can see there's compassion in you, or feel it. Humans are able to sense the magnetic field, and there are those who are starting to evolve who can sense all of the vibrations that you have and those around them. And they will become the teachers and the masters. You won't need channeling, dear ones, because you will carry with yourself in your own cellular structure, in your own consciousness, the ability to look and know from one individual to another. Have you ever heard of a medical intuitive? Have you known about them? Have you been in their presence and watched them identify in a human being, one after another, the attributes of health that that human being may have to work on? And you'll say, how is this possible? What are they doing? I'll tell you what they're doing. They're in touch with their vehicle, They're Merkaba, that multidimensional field that has everything in it. Everything, even their Akash. That's how an Akashic reader works with a human being. They're in touch with the Akash of the human in front of them, and they can read it. That is energy that no one knows about except the esoterics. And if you're one in this planet who would not be caught ever looking at this particular meeting, this day, or listening to channel, everything is going to change for you. Because suddenly you're going to realize everything we've been talking about, which you consider to be strange, eye-rolling, and woo-woo, will be right in the scientific journals for you to look at. And then what are you going to do? When you realize that we're talking about something that is intrinsic to humanity, what do you do with fear? Issues are and feelings. You are a master teacher, dear one. Did you know that? Every single one of you can help those around you. Let's go to that place, finally, as I close. Where my partner was feeling his way in the cave. He didn't tell you the rest of the story. Not really. What's that for? Why is there panic? It's the same reason so many of you right now are panicking. In fear. Because you don't know what's ahead as you feel along the cave wall in the dark. The rest of the story is this. That teaches you how to take care of that which is illogical. Fear has no logic to it. It's simply raw. And it takes over. How many have that right now listening to this in these closing moments? And when this is over, and you don't have uplifting messages anymore, or perhaps another conference day to listen to distract you, how many are going there? And the answer is, it depends. What did you get out of this? The shaman who went through the caves when he was 10 years old in the dark says he didn't do it once. He did it over and over. Because by the time those shamans in training were adults, they had learned to control and understand and recognize the rawness of fear and understand that it's a paper tiger, it's illogical, it's foolishness. And they could come out of it in a second. Oh, it's always there. It may very well be the prime emotion, but only for a moment. And then you go, get in the back seat, fear. I know better. I stand tall and I'll get through the cave. I can't see what's apart and the next I can't see what's ahead. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I create my own path, my own abundance, my own benevolence, my own peace. Can you go there with me? Because that's your legacy, old soul. That's why you're listening, old soul, to learn how to do that. You got to, because you have others with you, around you, who are walking the cave, and they're afraid. Why don't you be the voice in the dark who says, peace be unto you. Follow me. Show them that there is light with your compassion, your countenance, your mastery. I am crying in love with humanity. My message will always be the same. Different words, different stories, the same, and that is this. Dear human being, creature of the Creator, you are magnificent, born magnificent, remaining magnificent. Find it in you and become what you are. And so it is.